All right. Good evening, everybody. This is Josh, and we're here at season two of Horror Hangouts, episode six. And today, or this evening, depending on where you're watching this, we have a special guest. I have an actress and director from Scotland. She has starred in quite a few movies. Most recently, some of the more recent ones, the Slave and The Sorcerer, right here. Also, the Vance Institute, as well as Ghost Crew. She made her directorial debut with Slot from 2022. In addition, also has directed a short film uh, called Thunder of the Dark, which starred Nicholas Vince, who played Chatterer from Hellraiser, for those who Hellraiser fans like myself. And so I'd like to bring on Megan Tremethick, if I pronounced that correct. How are you doing, Megan?
Hi. Nice to chat to you, and that was an epic introduction, so thank you so much.
I've been practicing it for the last hour, so
Well, I can
oh,
tell.
doing my best acting job that I can do here. So, so what? How long have you been acting for? How long you been in the film industry?
Oh wow. Well, I've been acting for a little while longer than from when I say joined the film industry. I first got into acting through school. Oh my gosh, I did. So I was a very shy kid, and my kind of, I guess, creative outlet was I was a massive nerd. To be honest, I at the time, like now, it's more horror films, but at the time, it was things like musicals, and kind of theater. I was
Hmm.
like a theater nerd. So I was obsessed with Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats the musical. And so when I was about 10 years old,
Oh, wow.
I I decided, because there was like there was a competition talent show type thing, and I was like, okay, I have to do this. I have to perform a song from Cats the musical, and I have to do it in cosplay as one of the characters in like in a cat costume. And so I was super nervous, but decided to do it anyway, and actually had a great time. And yeah, so from then I just did local like Amdram productions and musicals and just straight theatre as well. Um, and yeah, from there I just started doing. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So I started doing indie short films after that, and there was the BFI Film
Mm.
Academy in Cornwall, which was, I think that was my first short film actually, which kind of led me on to doing independent feature films, and yeah, then I met Hex, and now I'm here. Hmm.
Excellent, excellent. So, would you say that what attracted you to acting might have been it helped you? You said you were like very shy. Did it
Mhm.
think that maybe helped get you out of your shell, so to speak, or help you express yourself in a way?
100%. I think of acting as kind of like it's not me, it's them, like my character. And so I kind of feel like I can do anything. I'm quite I'm quite a socially
Hmm.
awkward person in real life. So when I'm on stage or when I'm in a film or even when I'm writing my own parts or writing short stories, I just kind of feel limitless. So yeah.
Okay. Kind of cut off there for a second there, but that's all right.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, very good then. Do you have like? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good, good, good. I think there's like a slight delay between us, but that's okay. We'll manage. Um, Yeah, I was gonna say because I've like talked or I've seen interviews with certain other actresses, and most of them will say that they were like the shy kid in class and all that, and
Mhm.
acting kind of like brings out another personality of them. So yeah, I think that's kind of true for a lot of whether you're an actor or an artist or a writer. I think I think we're all kind of introverted in that way. So yeah, I could completely understand that.
No, 100%. I think there's something kind of just cathartic about getting to either perform or getting to just write or to sing or dance or just it yeah, it just kind of feels like a release, and it's great.
Excellent. Do you have like whenever you like, you know, whenever you're preparing for a role that you're going to play, whether it's on stage or if it's in a movie, do you have like a certain preparation as far as like a certain, I guess, like a way that you prepare for that role?
Ooh, that's a really cool question. Um, I think it kind of depends on the role, and I think actually I tend to sort of, I guess, kind of tailor my preparation for different characters because they all kind of require different processes. Like, for example, for Queen Ginnarra, she required quite a lot of prep in terms of
Hmm.
thinking about her backstory. And like, I had a long conversation with the director, Laurie Brewster, who also played a big part in writing the script.
Hmm.
And we talked about, for example, like how Queen Ginnarra rose to power. And like what alliances she made, the war, and that really helped me before I got on set to just kind of know in my head like what has she been through to get here, and that definitely informed me with filming. After that, for Queen Ginnarra, it was a very physical, or like almost technical preparation, mainly with my face, of just making sure, like it was written
Hmm.
in the script, and I really wanted her to be very stoic, very still, almost uncanny in her expressions, almost otherworldly, because she is this otherworldly prophet. And so it was a lot of
Right.
just practicing not blinking very much and practicing not emoting too much in my face and in my body language. And yeah, while I was on set, I was just trying to enforce that, and it was just kind of keeping that discipline, I guess, and restraint. But it was actually really satisfying because I've never really had an opportunity to do that for a role. And then there's something that's like the complete opposite, which is like Naman for the Slave and the Sorcerer, the seductive sorceress, and obviously for that
Right.
one it felt more yeah, more on the physical side of things, of just I guess more technical as in like posing and things, but you know, like that one, it wasn't so much in depth about the backstory and the method. It was just a bit more surface level, but it felt right and it felt fun for the part. So yeah, they're kind of all different.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's different approaches you have to take to each character. And what they and for our viewers out there who don't know, one of the big studios you've worked for is HEX Studios, which is based out of Scotland, correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's correct.
And one thing I've always been impressed with the movies that you guys have done, you know, between you, Laurie Brewster, who I assume pretty much directs and produces a lot of the movies there, is the diversity of different movies that you guys will make. You'll make a very campy, goofy sorcerer movie like Slave and the Sorcerer, but then turn around and do something more thought provoking, more psychological like the Vance Institute. And now
Mhm.
you are doing a movie like The Reign of Queen Ginnarra, which I assume is kind of like a period piece almost. That must is that a lot of fun doing that, going from one subgenre to another and not having to stay in the same thing all the time.
Yeah, 100%. As an actor and as a creative, because luckily at Hex we get to wear many hats. It's not kind of like you just do that job, you're just in that department, and you're in that department. It's like, oh no, we're all going to kind of help in and muck in and do a little bit of everything. But I really enjoy being that hands-on. So from an acting perspective, but also from like costume making perspective, makeup designing perspective, and just coming up with ideas, it's really satisfying to get to kind of, yeah, like do something more fun, more flamboyant like Slave, because like I got to design some makeup for that and help out with some costumes and as well as acting, and it was just so much fun to for example, like I took inspiration from like Flash Gordon and things for that. But also, as much as as much as I love kind of just like really fun films, I think if I did that all the time, there would be a part of me that would feel like I want to do something else. So it's a real privilege to also get to do parts like Queen Ginnarra, who was, I mean, honestly, it was a total gift of a role that I kind of didn't even expect. And yeah, like I've kind of, I didn't even know how much I wanted to play a character like her in a period set piece until the role came up. So I had a blast doing that. And with HEX, it always feels a bit like a roll of a dice of you never know quite what the next like genre, the next style of movie will be. And that's really fun. And yeah, really satisfying.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, that's like pretty much your that kind of like leads me into another question I was going to ask. What your most recent movie that's coming out, and this movie's now been has it been released yet? You know, and I'm talking about the Reign of the Queen Ginnarra. Is that been released yet on physical media, or is that coming up here pretty soon?
So it's doing a short festival run, which is really exciting. It's actually recently premiered at the Romford Horror Film Festival just a few weeks ago, and yeah, that was a blast. So it should be released hopefully within the next few months. But it is available to pre-order though, so I'll make sure to give you
Okay.
links. But yeah, hopefully soon.
Yeah, and for those who are watching, I have some links in our show notes, a link to Megan's Instagram account as well as British Horror Studio Patreon and also HEX Studios Shop. So you can search for these videos because unfortunately, a lot of them aren't streaming anywhere here in North America. So um, if you want to get I think you can get a lot of these movies in both digital and physical copies. That's where I actually participated in
Yay!
the crowdsourcing or crowdfunding for um, Slave and The Sorcerer. You're welcome, and that's another thing too. You guys rely on a lot of crowdfunding as getting people to basically send donations in return. Um, you would get a Blu-ray copy or whatever you're wanting, depending on what package. So I think that's a really neat way to finance these movies because they're obviously not very cheap to make for the most part. Even your lower budget movies will require a lot of money.
Yeah, no, like crowdfunding. I mean, like Laurie's the one to ask about that. He's truly amazing at crowdfunding. I'm very impressed. And yeah, it's great because it's a way for people to pre-order the film in a way, which is great. So people do get to get their Blu-rays or their digital downloads and things. And yeah, we do try and avoid things like Amazon Prime at the moment, just because financially it makes more sense for the filmmaker not to put them there. But I know it's a pain for people because it is convenient. But yeah, we do have digital downloads available on our website and pre-orders as well for anything that's about to come out.
That's correct. And I know that the Ghost Crew, I know that's available on Tubi, which here in North America, that's a big streaming service that has playing movies because that's where ended up watching it, was on there. Um, one question I was going to ask is, all right, here's one. What do you enjoy the most about acting, and what's the most difficult part about acting?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I think at the moment, and I wouldn't have said this in the past because I was very risk averse, but now I would actually say the thing I enjoy the most about acting is kind of being terrified, thinking, how the hell am I going to play this crazy character, or not crazy character, this very restrained character, or just something that feels so not me, so far from me, and that I've never done before. But I get such a thrill when I kind of feel like, okay, I've faced my fears, I've done that, it was crazy, and I'm glad I did it. So that's definitely my favorite thing now, is doing wild stuff. Um, as for what I'm, what's the hardest thing? Um, I think the hardest thing sounds a bit cheesy, but is sometimes letting go of characters that you really, really loved playing. And because in theatre you might get, you know, extra runs if you're doing like months and months, say on the West End. Not that I've done that, but people do. Uh, it can be really sad when you kind of have
Hmm.
fallen in love with the character, and then it's like, well, filming's over. You can say goodbye now. There's probably not going to be a sequel. So that's one of the hardest things.
So it's like the ending of it that it's like kind of says like the last day of school. You're happy that it's done, but you're also sad that it's done because you worked with all these people and now it's over and on to the next job. Then
Yeah, 100%. Luckily, because Hex, we're quite a tight knit team. We always tend to have the same people back, so that is lovely. So at least the good side is that it's never like, oh, I'm not going to see these
right.
people. Most likely, I am on the next gig, which is great because there's very good banter on set. So that's good.
Very good, very good. So had you prior to start doing like a lot? Obviously, you've done quite a few horror movies. Have you been a fan of the horror movie genre prior to acting into acting and making movies?
Oh, do you mean like was I like a horror fan before type thing? Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, definitely. My dad has always been a huge horror fan. Like, he's a massive nerd for sci-fi and horror. And so when I was a lot younger, we would just watch horror films together, like all the time. Actually, he was the one that showed me my first Amicus Productions film, like Amicus horror film ever. It was The Vault of Horror, and I can't remember. I was pretty young, and I loved it. I like my favorite has always been the Tom Baker section of Vault of Horror. It's so well written. They're all so well written, and so yeah, it's pretty surreal to have remembered watching that with him when I was so young, and now Hex is going to be bringing back Amicus Productions. So yeah.
That's correct. I think you guys are working on one called Grip of Terror. I think that's one that I donated to as well. So
Yeah, In the Grip of Terror. Thank you so much. Well, really, really appreciate that.
sure. I was gonna say ask also too. So do you have like any? Were you like also a fan of what were some of your favorite horror movies? Not even just growing up, but even recently. Do you have any particular favorites that you really really like and really like to watch at least on a regular basis or at least once a year or so?
Mm-hmm. I really like Brian De Palma's Carrie. I think that is just stunning. Like, so beautiful and
Hmm.
romantic, but also so terrifying and horrific and really, really tragic. I feel like I can kind of relate to Carrie. I don't know. It's just amazing. I also am a big fan of the book. So good. Um, I really like Giallo films. Giallo films are really good. I really like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Actually, I remember when I first watched that. I don't want to spoil it, but if you know the rewatch, it's so rewatchable. Being like, now I see it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like Tenebra as well. That one's awesome.
It's
Deep
been a
Red.
while since I've seen that one, but yeah, I've seen it.
Really good. And
Yes.
obviously, Suspiria is a masterpiece as well. Um, oh my goodness. In terms of more modern horror films, oh my gosh, I quite like. Well, I really liked Pearl, mainly because of Mia Goth's performance. I thought that was awesome. I'm
Oh
trying to think what I've
yes.
recently seen. Oh, I loved The Substance. The Substance was so good. um, Yeah, I mean,
Substance, yes, probably my favorite movie of the 2020s so far, I think.
nice. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you there. It's
Yeah, we just did a
sorry, you were saying?
that gave me about everything I could want out of a horror movie out of that movie there. So it's I was saying just a few weeks ago we've done a that was last month we did a whole episode of Italian horror and talked about giallo movies and even went back to talking about some of the early 60s black and white Italian movies with Barbara Steele, who I think's one of my favorite actresses, and I'm sure probably yours as well.
Mhm. Oh, that sounds awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, so going back, you look at all these movies, is there like a movie that you look at and you say, "Man, I wish I'd have played that role." Is there like a role or character in a horror movie you would have liked to have gotten the opportunity to play?
I feel like there are definitely so many that I think of at the time, but okay, if I had to choose one immediately off the cuff, it would be something gothic because I'm craving something gothic at the moment. Maybe this is quite controversial, but maybe Deborah Carr in The Innocents. I mean, she was amazing, and what an incredible role. I would. It's a pretty edgy role, but I would
Oh,
love to
okay.
play that because that was stunning. I mean, Mina Harker in Dracula would be amazing. Yeah, I think at the moment something gothic, but I
Mhm.
like a lot of strands of horror. So I mean, I'd even like to do something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one because it was an incredible part. Like she did such a great job. Like that chase scene was incredible when she's just screaming in the chair like for ages. Like it was, I was like
Oh,
gripped.
yeah.
So it was kind of yeah. I can appreciate it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of those movies that really isn't very gory, but it's like it messes with you. It makes you think that you just watched a total bloodbath, but really it's not
Yes,
that gory at all.
I am 100% with you, and I actually like went back to kind of study it in inspiration for for spoiling you. Not saying it's necessarily like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I find that really
Hmm.
inspiring, and that's exactly what I want to do is to use hiding the gore, hiding the horror for a lot of the film to build that suspense because it was just masterfully shot. And it was like incredible tension throughout the film of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So yeah, no, there's lots that young filmmakers that like horror can learn from that
Hmm.
film.
Absolutely. So how's you've obviously have also written and directed a few movies. How's that transition been from being an actress and now becoming a director? How are you enjoying doing directing so far?
Um, well, I've definitely got the bug for directing. I've also got the bug for writing as well. Spoiling You is it's co-written, I would say, because Laurie Brewster has given me a ton of help with writing. He's been truly amazing. He's been great to collaborate with, but I've also been making sure to push myself to get very
Hmm.
solid drafts, first, and then we collaborate and refine that. It's writing has definitely been a struggle. Mainly in focus actually and just pushing myself to be confident in my ideas because it can be very easy to just like procrastinate and be like, oh, I'll just keep reading good horror novels or I'll keep watching good horror films. But then if you're always saying that oh, I'm not ready, it's like, but when are you ever going to
Hmm.
be ready? So I've tried to really, because even I was actually looking at one of my journals from 2022 and I was talking about spoiling you back then. And it kind of really hit me. I was like, wow,
Hmm.
that that's a while ago. So it's really given me that push to be like, right, stop being a nervous perfectionist and just get it done. So it's been a challenge, but I'm loving it, and I'm already thinking about possible ideas for the next horror film after, but we shall see. As for directing, I mean, it's obviously challenging as well, particularly because I'm not
I
the
could kind
most.
of relate to that. Hmm.
Mhm. Sorry, what were you going to say? Oh, sorry.
No, I would say I can relate to that because I like put off like writing myself for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and finally I decided I'm just gonna do it and just started and just kept on
Mm-hmm.
going and going. So I can understand that you think, well, I'm not ready or not, whatever. Just jump in and just do it. And I think that's true for anything really. That if there's something you might have a passion for doing, so
100%, 100%. Yeah. Like,
you obviously do with both in front of the camera and from well.
what was that? Sorry. I think I just lost connection there. But I heard what you said before. Was that a question at the end?
Oh well, I had just said well, I had said that, yeah, I know the connection's been a little fuzzy, but basically how I could relate to you, like just jumping into something and not like putting it off, because I like put off being an author and being a writer for so long, and I just jump into it and go with it, and I wish I had done a lot many years ago, but better late than never. So I was just relating to that as far as you approaching finally getting into directing and filmmaking and being behind the camera and in front of it. So,
Yeah, no, 100%. And good for you. No, damn right. It's like better late than never. Like, why not start ASAP, like as soon as you can? So, no, high five.
oh yeah, oh, yeah. Thank you. um, I guess one last question here. Um, Obviously you're a big fan of the horror genre. You've made films. Who's an actor or an actress in the horror genre that you would love to work with, movie with, or even direct, even?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Oh my gosh. Well, modern, it would be, I would love to work with either Mia Goth or
I
Brooke
stumped you
Wally.
there.
Yeah, you did. I'll just pretend it was lagging, it's just bad connection. Um, and if it was an
Oh,
actress
of course.
first, oh, or an actor, let's say an actor, I would love to work with Peter Cushing. I know, obviously, I can't anymore, but he would be my dream choice. And an actress from the past would be Ingrid Pitt, definitely.
But going back in time,
Yeah.
oh, another great, another great. Yeah, I kind of like I grew up first on the Universal horror movies, monster movies of the
Mm-hmm.
30s, and eventually graduated to the Hammer films. And yeah, Peter
Mm-hmm.
Cushing, Christopher Lee, that's him back there, and Ingrid
Love
Pitt.
it.
Yeah, terrific icons in the horror.
Oh, indeed.
Excellent. Well, then, so for everyone wants to know, you can find a lot of the movies that Megan has been in on the British Horror Studio Patreon shop. You can also go to HEX Studio Shop and also order those movies there. I would certainly encourage you to do so. So if you're looking to build up on your physical media collection, there's a good place to start. Megan, it was terrific having you here with us. I know it's a little bit later where you're at, so I appreciate it. I know you've had a busy schedule, but it was terrific having you on. Um, and thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Josh. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it's been a lovely evening chatting.
Excellent. All right, and we will see everyone here in a couple weeks. Good
Yay.
night.